Within the department, Ross has done it all. He started as a patrolman. He was the first ever promoted to corporal, and he held the corporal position, which was a solo position, which they've since added two unfilled. I'm the only one currently on there, but he has went from corporal. He was promoted to sergeant to deputy chief after that, and he's currently a deputy chief and dedicated. Interesting thing about Ross is he's one of the very few administrators that I think has volunteered for a midnight shift position. He currently works 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. and he volunteered to do that so that people with children and families didn't have to get reassigned. So he's been doing that for a couple of years now, and he was on the midnight shift as a patrolman and that. So he's one to take one for the team when needed. So in his various roles, he was acting as a liaison between the JCU EMS department that's currently on campus. He did that for years, and as liaison, he would chaperone to different events they would do. And I believe he was in Boston when a student had a serious medical incident where it was life or death, and Ross was right in there with EMS. They were able to get to the student in time and actually life-saving measures, and made it through that incident. Quick acting by everybody involved, EMS along with Ross. He's an ex-hockey player. He played hockey in high school, I believe, at Gilmore, and he was instrumental in them getting a new ice rink. It came after him, but he was doing the fundraising efforts to make sure that they could secure their own space there for an ice rink at Gilmore. So I think that's another notch in his belt. He's replaced that. He's rescued, I think, quite a few dogs, at least 2 or 3 that I know of. So he's an avid animal lover. He embodies I think the care for the whole person, the curas personalis, the John Carroll's motto, from all of his contacts with, whether it's a faculty, staff, student, somebody in distress, somebody in help. Like, let's be helpful, care for the whole person. And with the Carbone name, and his grandfather immigrated from Italy to here, started a construction company, and so he's very proud of the roots and foundation of those that came for him, and just being Italian, he's very proud of it. Wow, 25 years, who would have thought? Yeah, I can only simply say congratulations, paisan.
Rick is a person who wears his heart on his sleeve, and his heart is in knowing that he's a man of God. Rick is just an incredible inspiration as an academic and as a Catholic person here on campus. He's been very influential in the way that I've approached balancing my faith life with my academic life. And again, very inspirational, and Rick always has a positive thing to say, always has a way to solve the problem, and he can foresee the right path for people. And so this is just a tremendous asset for us, particularly in our advising. Rick is always the one that all of us go to when we have an advising question, because he can just map out in his head exactly what that student needs, what they might be missing, what might be the mistake that was made somewhere along the line. But just an incredible skill at knowing all these details of the university over the years. He's developed our business analytics minor. He's worked in marketing. He's worked in information systems. He's he's taught strategic management. I mean, so Rick is a jack of many trades. But most importantly, I think, and most recently, is he's developed our business analytics minor, which is really valuable to our students in the business school and others. I think he recognizes the power that technology and information give to a person and can give to decision making. We really do revolve our majors around data-driven decision making, and we have all kinds of new tools and they change all the time, and being able to keep up with that and keeping students grounded in who they are and how to use technology in a way that helps others and really serves others. In this way, Rick has really been a definite asset to our staff and to all things John Carroll. He can take a student who really can't quite navigate why they're having the problems that they're having and just really understand how to get them past that. He's a dad. I know he's a great husband to Celeste, and they are just a dynamic family. And I think when we have really strong family roots and we bring that coupled with our faith to our work, we get a person like Rick. Rick, I wish you the best. I wish you much peace and many blessings in all your years ahead. I look forward to some continued years here at John Carroll, and I thank you for all you've done for me and teaching me how to hopefully be a good department chair, and I wish you all the best.
Dr. Kahai is a economics professor, so she teaches all the basic economics classes, but importantly, she also teaches the capstone class in economics. And I would say very importantly, for the international business program, she teaches the capstone class. And what's unique about this capstone class is that the capstone class involves an international research project. So we participate with universities throughout the world on a capstone project. So our students in that capstone class, they are working with students from Japan, from Germany, from London, from Africa on that project. And all that is being done partially online. So that's a very unique experience for our students. Think about it. Our students working on a project, as a matter of fact, that's kind of one of the project was the nutmeg industry in Grenada, which is where I'm from. And I was so thrilled when I saw that one of the projects was in Japan, and the other one was dealing with the nutmeg industry in Grenada, because Grenada is the second largest producer in the world of nutmegs. And our students were working on those projects with other students from all over the world. And again, that's because of Dr. Kahai identifying that capstone project. And also, too, is that Dr. Kahai was the first person in Boulder to teach online. I'm talking about teaching a class completely online. And I'm talking about years before COVID, But like I said, she was always on the cutting edge, She did a phenomenal job in delivering the class online. She's always empowering her students to be creative, to do something different, to, meet with our partners, interview them, get the different perspective, not just reading the textbook and going online and, getting a reference, engage them and come up with new ideas, and I think that has been a good trait of Dr. Kahai, and in essence, a good trait of any good faculty, any good professor. Dr. Kahai, it has been 25 great years working with you. You have been a great colleague. It has been a privilege. And as you can recall, we've had many journeys together, our trips to India, the Taj Mahal, developing all those international programs, and really being a great colleague, not only to me, but to our colleagues in the Department of Economics and Finance. I wish you all the best, you and your family, and I hope we continue working together. Thank you so much for being a great colleague here at John Carroll University.
I first met Phil shortly after he joined the faculty. We got to know each other through our regular basketball games in Little Italy. Aside from our John Carroll connection, we shared something else. We were both among the few guys on the court who hadn't grown up in that close-knit neighborhood. And we learned we both had Chicago roots and a footprint in Southern California. While the local guys were always welcoming, we were both held at a bit of an arm's length. That meant we wound up chatting more regularly than we might have if we'd only bumped into each other in the hallway between our departments. It was always a pleasure to see him, not just because he was a heck of a baller, but because of his genuinely personable nature. Through those courtside conversations, I came to appreciate how he understands himself, not just as a teacher and scholar, but also as an artist. I feel fortunate that my work has intersected with Phil's over these last 25 years. We jointly taught a course that integrated our fields around a shared interest in peace-building efforts after empires have dissolved, and we've traded notes on faculty governance, an area where I've always found his perspective to be thoughtful and invaluable. More recently, we've collaborated through our shared commitment to the Peace, Justice, and Human Rights program at JCU. Phil took over as director after our friend Rich Clark established the program's strong foundation. Under Phil's leadership, PGHR has grown to become the largest cross-disciplinary program on our side of the house. He's forged meaningful connections with the Arupe Scholars Program and built the Northern Ireland Peacebuilding Program into one of the longest-running, most successful experiential learning ventures we have at JCU. That Northern Ireland seminar and study tour has been transformative for scores of students over the last 2 decades, and Phil's been at the heart of it all. It's largely to his credit that PGHR has become such a profound manifestation of our Jesuit liberal arts mission. Over the years, I've watched with great satisfaction, as I know the whole university has, as Phil's work has earned well-deserved national and international recognition. We are fortunate that he's made his home at JCU, especially considering that his unique talents have often been courted by institutions where the humanities enjoy a higher profile than they do here. The John Carroll student experience and the life of this institution have been enriched immeasurably by Phil's presence. Those of you who know him share my sentiment when I say, Phil, thank you for your commitment. Happy 25th anniversary.
Elizabeth is incredibly smart. She's passionate about what she teaches and data. And she is talented in many ways. She's actually a really good administrator. She early on she's been a mentor to me for 23 years since I've been here. And she came to the university 2 years before I got here. And so I've watched her grow as a faculty member. I've watched her get tenure and promoted before me because she was here before me. And, I've seen her, she took the nonprofit administration program and turned it into something viable, sustainable, and long-term, has had a lasting impact with that. She used to be the director of that. Now she's doing a similar thing with pre-law. And it's great to see her work in that way. As a person, she's also very creative. We've been friends all these years. She plays guitar. We've played in a band together. She is an excellent bandmate and, somebody who I like to play music with. And I consider her a friend and one of my best friends here and also a mentor.
We had a brand new professor tomorrow, and they said, how do I succeed? I would point them to Elizabeth. Elizabeth has done an incredible job teaching, doing research, and service. And those are the 3 things that we as faculty need to do, and she's excellent on all of them.
I really appreciate the energy that she comes at ideas with. And we've had so many intellectual conversations over the years about, things from politics to philosophy to music, obviously, as well. And, she's a very flexible thinker, and she's somebody who shows a lot of enthusiasm for ideas.
Yeah, universities go through changes all the time, and Elizabeth has brought a constant source of somebody willing to engage in technology and to do different things to better not only her own research, but our students. I look at her transition to using R as a coding language for statistical analyses. That's something that she didn't know immediately, and she didn't know when I got here, but then she took it upon herself to learn it. Now she teaches it to students in Data 1220 as well as our research methods. And then AI. mean, she's been probably the foremost person in our department to embrace AI and how it's used and how she can use it in classes in a way that benefits students, both from an ethical perspective and a practical perspective.
If you know her, you can understand why she's a good professor, because she can relate to people. She can communicate complicated ideas. She has an organizational capacity that is, beyond what your average faculty member would have. She's she's good at building programs and making connections and keeping in touch with people and doing all of these things that help build really strong institutional practice. I can't even imagine this place without you. And I appreciate every moment that you have spent encouraging me over the years, and also, speaking honestly with me about difficult world events and difficult personal issues. So thank you.
Elizabeth, congratulations on 25 years. Your support has meant so much to me, and I'm greatly appreciative of all the things that we've done, all the adventures we've gone on, from publications to pre-law and all things that are coming in the future. Congratulations.